What if I told you that the most powerful wound healers, lung cleansers, and infection fighters ever used by human beings aren't locked behind a pharmacy counter? They're growing in gardens, roadsides, and vacant lots right now. Plants that patched up battlefield wounds before antibiotics existed. Plants that got entire villages through brutal winters without a single doctor in sight. And plants that modern clinical trials are now quietly proving actually work. Today, I'm going to walk you through the first 10 of the most forgotten medicinal plants on Earth. And I'm not talking about exotic jungle remedies that nobody can find. I'm talking about things growing in your neighborhood right now that your great-grandmother would have recognized instantly and known exactly what to do with. Hit subscribe right now because every week we publish content that saves you money and gives you back control over your own health. Let's get into it. Number 1. Blue Vervain, the nerve soother. Blue Vervain had one of the most interesting traditional applications in all of herbal medicine. It was considered a nervine, a plant that calms and genuinely strengthens the nervous system over time. Verbena hastata was used for nervous exhaustion, anxiety, chronic tension, headaches, and insomnia. Essentially, every stress-related condition we deal with more heavily today than ever before. Traditional herbalists described Vervain as the remedy for people who are wound too tight, overthinking, unable to relax or sleep. Animal research and modern herbal sources suggest genuine anxiolytic effects that calm nervous tension without sedating you. A cup of Vervain tea in the evening doesn't knock you out like a sleeping pill. It helps your nervous system release and reset. For the everyday stress that accumulates quietly, it's a gentler approach without the dependence issues that come with pharmaceutical anxiety medications. Number 2. Elecampane, the deep lung tonic. Elecampane is where herbal medicine gets serious about respiratory healing. Inula helenium was the remedy herbalists reached for when someone had a deep, stubborn lung infection, the kind of wet, productive cough that won't resolve, chronic bronchitis, or lingering chest weakness after pneumonia. The root contains compounds called sesquiterpene lactones with genuine antitussive and antimicrobial effects. Recent research confirms antimicrobial activity against respiratory pathogens. For deep lung problems, the traditional approach was small, frequent doses taken over weeks or even months. This is not a quick fix. It's a deep lung tonic that helps the respiratory system actually heal and strengthen rather than just suppress symptoms. Elecampane disappeared partly because it demands patience. It works slowly and deeply rather than delivering instant relief. But for chronic, lingering respiratory weakness, it offers something antibiotics simply don't: genuine rebuilding of lung tissue. Number 3. Toothache plant, the instant numbing herb. This plant delivers on its name in the most dramatic way possible. Spilanthes, or Acmella oleracea, contains a compound called spilanthol that creates an immediate tingling and numbing sensation throughout your mouth. Chew a fresh flower, and within seconds, your entire mouth goes numb. Traditional healers used it for exactly what you'd expect: toothaches, mouth ulcers, sore throats, and any painful oral condition. Reviews confirm genuine local anesthetic and analgesic effects. The flowers carry the strongest numbing action, but the leaves work too. At the first sign of tooth pain or a mouth ulcer, chew a fresh flower and let it coat the painful area. The numbing effect lasts 30 minutes or more. It doesn't cure the underlying problem, but it delivers real pain relief while you address the cause. First-time users are consistently shocked by how intense the effect is. Number 4. Oregon grape, the skin healer. Oregon grape isn't actually a grape. It's a spiny evergreen shrub with yellow flowers and blue-black berries. But Mahonia aquifolium has something that makes it genuinely stand out. It's one of the few herbs with solid clinical evidence for treating chronic skin conditions like psoriasis. Multiple studies have shown that topical Oregon grape extract significantly improves psoriasis and atopic dermatitis symptoms. The plant contains berberine and other alkaloids with antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory effects on skin. The bright yellow inner bark of the roots and stems is where the medicine is most concentrated. The effect isn't instant. Consistent use over weeks is necessary. but the improvement can be significant. For psoriasis and eczema, frustrating conditions that respond poorly to most treatments, Oregon Grape offers a botanical option with real clinical backing, not just traditional use, but modern studies showing measurable results. Number 5. Yellow Dock, the liver and digestion ally. Old-fashioned herbalists called plants like Rumex crispus blood purifiers, but what they really meant was herbs that help your body process and eliminate waste more efficiently. Yellow dock root is rich in bitter compounds and anthraquinones that stimulate bile production and digestive function. Herbal reviews link it to liver support, improved digestion, and improvement in chronic skin issues that respond to better internal elimination. The traditional reasoning was that troubled skin frequently reflects compromised internal health. Small, regular doses of yellow dock root to improve digestion, relieve constipation, and support the liver's detoxification work. Over time, many people found that stubborn skin problems cleared up as their digestion improved. Yellow dock works more gently than pharmaceutical laxatives or liver medications, supporting natural function rather than forcing the body to respond. Number 6. Usnea, the wilderness antibiotic. Usnea isn't technically a plant. It's a lichen that grows hanging from trees like pale greenish-grey hair, which is why it's called old man's beard. But this humble lichen has medicinal properties that make it one of the most important wilderness first aid remedies on Earth. Usnea species contain Usneic acid and related compounds with strong antimicrobial activity. Recent reviews show effectiveness against bacteria, including some antibiotic-resistant strains. Traditional use was primarily topical, fresh Usnea moistened and applied to wounds and infections, or prepared as a tincture for use as an antiseptic wash. If you cut yourself on a trail with no first aid supplies, applying moistened Usnea directly to the wound as an antimicrobial dressing is not wishful thinking. Modern research confirms it genuinely fights infection. The same lichen quietly hanging from trees in forests everywhere. Number 7. Barberry, the ancient antimicrobial. Here it is. The plant used for over 2,000 years that modern science is now proving works against antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Barberry vulgaris contains an alkaloid called berberine, one of the most studied plant compounds in modern medicine. Berberine has documented antimicrobial effects against bacteria, fungi, and parasites. It has anti-inflammatory effects. It supports digestive health and has been shown to help with infectious diarrhea. Recent research even shows metabolic benefits, including improved blood sugar control and cholesterol levels. Traditional use spans millennia, appearing in ancient Persian, Ayurvedic, and Chinese medicine. Barberry is one of those rare cases where traditional knowledge and modern science align with precision. With antibiotic resistance becoming a genuine global crisis, berberine-containing plants like barberry are receiving serious scientific attention again. Ancient medicine becoming cutting-edge because we're finally running out of alternatives. Number 8. Red clover, the field medicine flower. Red clover is so common that most people see it as nothing more than a lawn weed, but Trifolium pratense has been used medically for centuries, particularly for skin conditions, inflammation, and women's health. Recent studies have validated several traditional uses. Red clover contains isoflavones, plant compounds with mild estrogenic effects. Research shows benefits for menopausal hot flashes, and traditional use includes topical application for skin healing and internal use for chronic conditions like eczema and psoriasis. The flowers carry additional anti-inflammatory properties. Red clover works best over the long term, weeks or months of regular tea for skin problems or menopausal symptoms. It's not a quick fix. It's gentle, nourishing medicine that supports healing gradually. It disappeared from the medicine cabinet simply because it carpets every meadow, and nobody taught us anymore to look at common things as medicine. Number 9. Sassafras, the historical fever fighter. Sassafras has a complicated history. Native Americans used the root and bark of Sassafras albidum for fevers, rheumatism, and digestive problems, and it was later used commercially to flavor root beer. The traditional uses were real and the plant was genuinely valued for hundreds of years. However, sassafras contains safrole, a compound shown to have potential liver toxicity and carcinogenic effects in significant amounts. Because of this, internal use is now restricted in many places. Sassafras is mostly historical at this point, interesting to understand in context, but not recommended for regular internal use given what we now know about its chemistry. This plant teaches something important. Traditional medicine and modern science work best together. Traditional use tells us what to investigate. Modern research tells us how to use it safely or when to find better alternatives. Natural does not automatically mean safe for unrestricted use. Number 10. Meadowsweet, the original aspirin. And here we are. Number 20. The one I saved for last because it represents everything this series has been about. Filipendula ulmaria is the plant that aspirin was based on. Before synthetic aspirin existed, people used meadowsweet for pain, fever, inflammation, and, remarkably, stomach irritation. The plant contains salicylates, the same compounds aspirin is built from. When chemists first synthesized aspirin, they derived it from salicylic acid found in plants including meadowsweet and willow bark. But here is the twist. Meadowsweet doesn't cause the stomach irritation that aspirin commonly produces. In fact, traditional herbalists used it to soothe stomach inflammation while simultaneously relieving pain and fever. The tea brewed from the flowers and leaves is genuinely pleasant, slightly sweet, with an almond-like aroma. Meadowsweet shows what happens when we take nature's medicine, isolate a single compound, and synthesize it. We sometimes end up with something less balanced and more problematic than the original. The whole plant offers pain relief without the gastric damage that isolated aspirin causes. That is the intelligence of plant medicine. Nature's formulations are often better than our attempts to improve them. If this changed the way you see the ground you walk on every day, the weeds you've been pulling out of your garden, the plants growing in the cracks of the sidewalk outside your door, then hit that like button right now. It helps this content reach people who are ready to reclaim knowledge that was quietly passed down through generations for thousands of years before we decided to forget it. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 20 plants surprised you most. And if you want to go back and watch part 1 covering plants 1 through 10, the link is right above this video. Subscribe to Farm Roots and ring the notification bell. Every week we bring you practical knowledge that most people have never been taught, but everyone should have. We'll see you in the next one.